What did Skyfriend have to say? That's not terribly helpful. I couldn't care less how much he misses his favorite bar wench. But what was that about a man named Mimidoa? Wait, I know that name. That's the bastard who grabbed my arse the other day at the pub. Well, if you want to give him that feather, be my guest. I'm not going anywhere near him and his wandering hands. Doesn't it feel like we could have just gone straight to Mimimoto there? Mimidoa, or whatever his name is. There's still a lot of these little cookie crumb quests. Even though they took out probably like 60% of them. Like, if you think there's a lot of them, there's not nearly as many as there used to be. Trust me. Another initiate, are you? No? Then what are you? Speak up, Missy. I can't hear you. Bugger me. Is that what I think it is? Nah, couldn't be. You found this, you say? Where'd you say you found it? Skyfriend, you say. Was hoping to have a word with the lad, but it sounds like there's not left twixt his ears. He was supposed to help patch up Paroceros, he was. Company sent me to supervise a lot of them. Weren't getting work done on their own, see? Half of them walked off. Half of them ran off, and half of them up and vanished. What's that? You be looking for passage to the Isles of Umbra? Why didn't you say so? I've been thinking of dispatching someone to take a look on behalf of old Mimimoto. Or Mimidoa. Your name is confusing. Tell him how he lands it. I don't know what that is. Ain't nobody been interested till you came calling. Whole port's up in arms about spirits and so forth. If I had the gill, I'd hire some sellswords and let them sort it out. But you'll do in a pinch, you will. Show this parchment to the skipper and he'll see you there and back. Alright. Then I gotta go back and tell Cena. Diana. So, you went and had a word with Mimidoa? I hope the valuable time you saw fit to waste amounted to something. Man, you are a grumpy girl. You mean that disgusting creature was Skyfriend's superior? I find that hard to believe, but this writ of passage does appear to be genuine, so it must be true. I must say, it is a relief to work with such an industrious woman as you. I look forward to hearing the discoveries that you will make on the Isle of Umbra, without me. Oh, fine. I fail to see the justification for dragging me along on your journey, but if you insist, I will go as well. But 12 is my witness, if you leave me behind to be devoured by some horrid abomination, I shall come back to haunt you. I don't really feel like I needed her anyway. I just kind of, okay, whatever. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's for comedy's sake. You're supposed to get a chuckle out of this. I never did though. Like, I never found this that funny. Mostly I just found her to be very whiny. Exceptionally very whiny. Ha! Take me to the Isles of Umbra, he bids. As if it's as simple as, oh, I see you've got a writ of passage. Alright then, climb aboard. So yes, Isles of Umbra. It's actually a location on the map for this upper area, right? And you can only get to it by the boat. What is that? Moonshade Isle. I am not... oh boy, I'm gonna learn something new in this game, apparently. Or it's just not been used yet. Okay, so anyway, here we are, Umbra Isles. This doesn't seem all that bad. I'm not saying I'd like to build a summer home here, but oh, the hell's with this. Here, take your pot and go on without me. You've harvested corrupted crystals before, right? So it isn't as though you require my assistance. Speak to the man guarding the gate. I'm sure he'll let you in. Now, if you would please excuse me. Alright, so this is where I have a feeling that the game maybe at this point they rushed out, or not rushed out, maybe at this point they didn't finish this part of the story the way that they originally intended, I think. Beg your pardon, madam, but how did you come here? Access to this isle is currently restricted. I have a pot. You will let me in. An old pot? I'm not sure I follow. Oh, I see. You wish to harvest a corrupted crystal. Sorry, friend, but you may have to return empty-handed. The Writmaster Mimidoa gave you may grant you access to the island, but only authorized personnel may proceed past this point. Why, you ask? Look up and see for yourself. When that giant mass of crystals struck the lighthouse, it caused severe damage to both the structure and the machinery within that once powered the beacon. Aye, contrary to what the small folk would have you believe, the fires of Paroceros were not the product of a mage's thaumaturgy or a colossal arcane bomb, but an elaborate contraption fueled by etherical energy. Repairs are still ongoing, but it's anyone's guess when they will be complete. What's worse, all work has ceased since rumors of the Walking Dead drove off our entire crew. Not that those rumors are incorrect. I've observed the fiends from a distance at the ship graveyard to the south. What's drawn them to our shores is still a mystery, though. I'll make you a deal, Sophie. Help me unravel this mystery, and I'll bring you your corrupted crystal. In fact, I shall begin searching for one that satisfies your requirements. As for where to begin your inquiries into the situation, it so happens that a party of 3 adventurers came ashore not long ago seeking to scavenge valuable trinkets at the ship graveyard. I'd be surprised if they knew nothing of the undead infestation, so it might behoove you to question them. So here's the reason that, I don't know, he said look up, but you can't really look up from here. You can see it when I was over at the other place, but there you can kind of look up. So this is why I feel like this part of the game wasn't finished the way that Yoshi P originally intended it to, and it's because this eventually becomes a dungeon at like level 50. They added it in between the Realm Reborn and the first expansion, Heavensward. It was one of the dungeons that got added in, called Paroceros. It's this tower. You go into the tower, there's monsters everywhere. You go to the top, there's a bunch of corrupted crystals. You fight a boss, and that's it. There's no real story to it. But the story to it the story of it and what you fight connects to what we do here. And it makes no sense that guy, one dude, would be able to climb up to the top of that tower and get a corrupted crystal for you, which is what he's gonna do, and not have to fight a bunch of stuff on the way. Like, he could not do it, because you go in and fight all that stuff. God, that voice, that single fleeting verse, I can still hear it. Stay clear of the southern shore, friend. It took every ounce of my strength to resist. You saw them too, right? Dead people, just shambling about without a care in the world. Except when they do seem to care, that is, and start shuffling towards the water. It's all there for the taking. 5 bleeding years worth of wrecks and the cargo, but those queer dead things and that voice. Actually, the voice was quite nice. Weird little lisp there. So it makes no sense. So here's the other part of this, is that they set this up perfectly for this dungeon to open up right now. Like, the quest we're on is level 42. And if you look at the dungeon list, the last dungeon that we went to was Stone Vigil at 41. And then the next couple of dungeons, this one and then the next one that I'm going to unlock later, are not part of the story. There are actually, as I recall correctly, let me think for a second. I want to say there's no more dungeons that are part of the main story quest until 50. The remaining dungeons, 44, and then there's another one at 46. I want to say this one right here, it's Armbell. 47, 44 and 47, those are the last two dungeons in ARR until you get to 50. This dungeon that is not open, but there will be a dungeon right here. This dungeon to me should have happened right here at this point in the story, around level 42 or so, 43 maybe. The Stone Vigil is at 41, so you can see here, like, we had been doing dungeons every 3 or 4 levels, so around 43, around 44, this dungeon should have been open. And I think that was the original intent, was that you would do this part of the story chain, and then to get permission to go in here, that you could climb up to the top of the tower, defeat the boss, and then get your corrupted crystal. This talk of an alluring voice is disturbingly familiar. As if, but that's impossible. They're all dead, aren't they? As you can see, they're setting something up here, right? Like, there's all this setup for stuff. But if they have returned, that would mean... Oh, beg your pardon, I was just, thinking about something. Which reminds me, I received word that Master Mimidoa would be arriving any moment. Apparently, he grew frustrated waiting for the sweet young lass with skin as soft as Phoenix down to return, which I'm assuming is you? I don't know what sort of arrangement you had, but you should probably go and explain yourself. He doesn't have any idea what my skin touch feels like. I'm slightly, totally offended. What a creep. What's been keeping you, initiate? Ain't getting any younger, you know? Eh? Some honey-voiced harlot's been calling out to the folk that wander near the ship graveyard? And it stirred up the dead and all? Bloody hells, this takes me back to me days as a cannon boy sailing under old Mistbeard. But, remember that name, Mistbeard. But they wouldn't dare, would they? Not after the lesson we learned them last time. Ah, they bloody would, though, wouldn't they? Brazen old biddies. Some folks said that the first purge would be the last, but I knew deep down in my bones that as this day would come. And come it has. I'd bet me burn ear of sirens behind all this. Bum ear. I bet me bum ears of sirens behind all this. Nay, not one of the sanguine variety, initiate. Speak of the other kind. Them what's got feathers and lure sailors to a watery grave with their sweet, sweet song. Oh, but it don't end there. Nope. Drowning's just the start. See, even in death, a man stays bound to the beast, forced to do her bidding till his corpse can't do it no more. 'Tis a fate I wouldn't wish on me worst enemy. 'Cept maybe in a drink and I'd regret it all. Except maybe in drink and I'd regret it after. Any roads, 'tis up to us to stop this hell's-born hussy before she takes another soul. Of course, we can't send you marching off to war without these. The siren don't have no power over a man that can't hear her song. 'Tis lucky for you I carry a spare pair, and lucky for the both of us I'm a superstitious old sod, eh? Well, she ain't coming to us, so we best head over to her, to the ship graveyard and shit. So there you go. So they've been setting up all this quest, talking about ghosts and the dead and all that stuff, because you're gonna face a siren, which, if you're familiar with Final Fantasy, the series in general, siren is like Ifrit or Titan or Leviathan or Ramu or any of those other Eidolon type characters that exist that, you know, you'll be facing off against, or not facing off against, but they're like summons. They're traditional characters in Final Fantasy. I'm gonna help this person. I just like jumping in on fates. I can't help it. Alright. So anyway, so yeah, they've been setting up all this stuff for that siren, but then on top of that you have this, you know, dungeon that maybe I wouldn't have questioned this if the dungeon didn't get added into the game later on. If she passes near the shore, she's sure to spy the campfire and come looking, just a matter of waiting now. I'm beginning to wonder if some sly bugger ain't spun us a yarn here. Fight, do you hear that? 'Tis her. Look, out over the water. She's come, the shit, she's come. Quick lass, shove them plugs in your ears and get ready for a fight. Soon as she realizes you're deaf to her ditties, she'll call on the thralls and we'll be up to our necks in corpses before you know it. So, hither, embrace, mine everything all. Trying to enchant me here. Love, true love spurned, her cruelty's reward. So, here's the thing, I'm already past level 50, and I know for a fact that... I don't know for a fact. Well, I know for a fact that I can get into the dungeon, right? I can unlock it. And I know for relative certainty, I believe, I guess I don't really certainly know it, but I certainly believe that, I think you're supposed to originally do this dungeon. That's what I think. And so, in the spirit of that, because I can already get to the dungeon, as soon as we finish this storyline, I'm going to take a pause, and I'm going to unlock the Paroceros dungeon, and we're going to run it, just like it should have been, I think. You won't get that with anybody else's Let's Play through, but you're going to get it through mine. Gosh darn it, because that's what I feel like it should have been. And I don't care what anybody else says. But yeah, it feels like this scene right here, where you're fighting her thralls, right? It feels like this should have been the setup to go into the dungeon. You know, you go to the guy and you're like, hey, we chased the, you know, we fought the siren. And then he's like, well, then we need to deal with her and get your crystal. Because here's a little spoiler for you, she's gonna go to the top of Paroceros. She sees you fight at the top of Paroceros. Which is exactly why I was saying that I feel like that was the original intent. Because, like, it feels like the dungeon was like mostly done or something. And they just didn't have the time to, like, fine-tune it or whatever. So we didn't get it. That's how it feels to me. It feels like it was like the last thing on the list. They were working on it, and they just didn't get there. You have to watch out for these bubbles. Although it doesn't really hurt me that much, but... Where's the other guys? Oh, there they are. Alright, there's one more. I don't know where. Oh, sweet songs are the bubbles. Okay. You know, am I alright? Ha, I'm better than that, Nishit. Happy as a sailor in a whorehouse, I am. Of course, I'd be happy as a sailor with 2 Watsits if we gutted the songstress, but you can't have everything, can you? She'll not come croning around here again, though, not for a while, any road. And if she does, well, we know what to do, don't we? Thanks for the help. Bugger me, I've clean forgot your name. Remind me, Sophie? Don't recall having no initiate by that name. And if you're not my old mate, or was its name, then you've been so bloody then why you been so bloody helpful? Ah, never mind. Be seeing you, lass. So then you go over here, back to David, the guy at guarding the gate. And you tell him I beat the siren up, which you really didn't do. You didn't even fight her.